1040 O Street. John Henry's has a brand new membership club to protect your entire home in one program. With a VIP and a deluxe option, we will help you find the plan that best fits your needs. Receive discounts on services and equipment, priority service, complimentary inspections, and so much more. Protect your home's plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical systems all in one membership. Call John Henry's to learn more.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air,
and Electrical.
Discover the difference that expertise and experience can make in your real estate journey with Next Ag Appraisal and Realty. Whether you need an appraisal, sales, or farm management, Next Ag comes up with a solution with your legacy and goals in mind. Next Ag isn't just their name, it's your future. So why wait? Visit their website today at www.nextagrealestate.com or give them a call at 402-380-0432 and turn your dreams into reality. Your land, your legacy, their solutions. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket as soon as the clock hits 0 for the Jay Foreman postgame show. Listen to expert analysis from the Husker Hall of Famer, an 8-year NFL veteran, for 90 minutes after the game. The Jay Foreman postgame show, sponsored by Anderson Ford, Tanner's Bar and Grill, Tavern 180, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Vinnie Kreekak of State Farm Insurance, and Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket. Welcome into the LIBA Business Hour, sponsored by Nats to Tasseling, highlighting local independent businesses in and around Lincoln on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here's your host, LIBA Executive Director Travis Filing and Gary Tharnish.
And another Husker game day here on the LIBA Business Hour. Man, it's like we used to get parking, and all of a sudden here comes game day.
It's a whole new world. And go Big Red, man. I want to beat these Buffs so bad tonight. Lincoln is already hopping. I mean, it's crazy.
Has there been any sightings with Coach Prime? Is he still coaching them, right?
He's probably roaming around on a golf cart. He's got to be.
He's smiling and doing his thing and signing autographs or whatever. So, it's another beautiful Saturday morning here with us as always is Gary Tharnish, my co-host. How you doing today, man?
I am doing good. MC'd the Domestic Pups auction at the garden party that Paige Zuderman puts on every year last year from Strictly Business, and that was wonderful.
Yeah,
had a really fun night.
That's such a cool program.
Yeah, it
really is.
The gal that got up and talked about what the dog meant to her daughter, who had no hope left in life, was just amazing.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah,
and we should probably have him on one of these weeks. So
that'd be a good thing to do.
So this week, I've been really excited about this one. I actually sat down. I met Gabe couple of months ago, and he was telling me what he was doing. I'm like, oh my God, we got to get this guy on the radio. So with us today is Gabe and Clint, and they are with and I'm probably going to butcher this, right? It's the Nebraska Farmers Network, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Hey, look at me.
Look at you.
My gosh, it's like I almost read up on this before we came in. And so what you guys do are basically you're going out and you're buying up farm ground in Nebraska, and you're leasing it back to farmers. Kind of in a nutshell, give us a 30,000 foot view of what you guys, what the plan is, what the goal is.
Sure. Well, the goal all stems from the problem. And, we noticed a huge problem of our farmers and ranchers are losing access to local farmland because the prices are too high and they're already operating on a very, very slim margin as it is. So the numbers have to work for their family farm to make money and continue. Well, when they're letting go of that land, not taking advantage of it, who is taking advantage of it?
Yeah.
Good question.
And this is something we actually talked when we had the governor on our show. There's a lot of foreign entities that are buying up our land, which absolutely baffles me why our country allows it to happen. And I was reading across the country, I think it's 44 million acres are owned by foreign entities. Let's put that in perspective. That's about 67,000 square miles. Florida is 65,000 square miles. So Florida, Delaware, those two states, foreign owned. Think about that for a second. Why are we letting these foreign entities own our land? And Nebraska is no bit different. Our policy is, if you got the money, we got the beer. Come on, buy our land.
Right.
Why are we doing it?
Another thing I'm curious about that too is, are they buying the land and just that they leave it idle and get government checks for not farming it? Because isn't that a thing that can happen sometimes when you're not going to, plant a field that season? Do they do that? I mean, I have a lot of questions about it.
Well, I mean, there's conservation programs out there, but a lot of people, a lot of good groups, take advantage of those. What we're seeing is the rising threat, because a lot of people say, well, they only own 1% or they only own 2%, but that 1% added on every and compounded every year, that's where we're seeing the threat.
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, we're losing 275 acres every single day.
Yeah, I think the
Just for a
program
grant.
where they're, paying not to plant a year, whatever, is a good thing environmentally and everything. I just don't want China buying a bunch of land here and we're paying, communist China money to just sit there. I mean,
Right.
that's where my questions come
and
from.
you never know. We do have restrictions. We do have laws here in place, but they're so vague and they're so hard to enforce that you see these threatening numbers, and that's why we're taking matters in our own hands. We believe private sector is one of those businesses or an industry that could make it happen and do a lot faster than any other outside entity.
Well, definitely faster than the government. They
Yeah.
were fast if you're 200 years old. So my family, I have 77 first cousins, big family up in the Creighton, Verdigris, Plainview area. And when I was young, we'd go up there every summer. I'd go up there every summer and stay on one of the different farms. And there's only one of the family farms. There were about 8 up there that's left in private hands for this exact reason. Taxes got too high on the land. The margins were so slim, it was hard to make it farming. And then several of my cousins now work for the corporate entities that bought those farms. And you hear the good, bad, and the ugly about that. I mean, it just depends on who it is and what you're doing. But I was very interested in this issue. And then my soon-to-be son-in-law is a farmer outside of Red Cloud, and I know what a challenge that is. He's got a lot of land. They have a lot of land, but it's a crazy amount of work. Like, farmers are underappreciated, I think.
Underappreciated and underpaid.
Right.
It's one of our goals is to. This might sound big, but they say, if your dreams or goals don't scare you, find new ones.
Right.
It's one of our mission is to make a Nebraska farmer, a Nebraska rancher, one of the highest paid employees here in the state.
That'd be
As
so
it should
awesome.
be.
Yeah.
As it should be.
Oh, the hours they work. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
So how do you start? I mean, it's one of those things that I've always said, good Lord, somebody should be doing something about this, which is what fascinates me about, because you're actually doing something about it. So how do you guys start? How do you find land? How do you, kind of give us that kind of 30,000 foot view of how you put a deal together and what you do once you find a piece of land and how you buy it and all that stuff.
Sure. The big thing about it, and please don't get it twisted. We're not a bunch of.
I'll get it twisted. I promise.
We're not a bunch of protesters or advocates or anything like that. We're in it to make intend to make a profit for our members and for the network and whatnot. So, the foreign countries, the out of state investors, what if these guys are just getting started? Because we're seeing just a rising trend in the placement of where they're buying this land, who's taking advantage of it and whatnot. So what if they know in the next 10 years, a whole generation of farmers are going to be retiring in the next 10 to 15 years? We come up with the fact that with a conservative number of 6,000 farmers and ranchers. And when you have 6,000 farmers and ranchers retiring, there's millions of acres of land changing hands.
Yeah.
Not only that, but if that land is, average size farm in today is about 1,000 acres at UNL's prices of $4,000 an acre, you're looking at a $24 billion market opportunity. And what if they're just getting started? What if they're just putting their ponds in the right spot? They're just strategically making it happen. Well, that's what we are doing. We're intercepting a lot of these deals that would be going to foreign countries or out of state billionaires. You know, Bill Gates here already owns over 34,000 acres of row crop farm.
Yeah.
Now, what of his motives? I mean, we could go down a whole rabbit hole of that, but we know that who's going to look best for our farmers and ranchers, you know,
Yeah, it ain't
the
Bill
neighbors
Gates.
or
Yeah.
Bill Gates, you know, we
Right.
just know that. So,
And do you know what the data is on Bill Gates farms? Like, does he farm them? Does he plant them? Are they idle? Does anybody know?
Is he out there
Is
in
there
the
any
combine?
stats on that?
you know,
Well, I know he's not out there on a combine.
one of the third richest, maybe the third or fourth richest man on the planet. And the Land Report dubbed him Farmer Bill. And like you said, I can guarantee you he never turned a spade in his life.
Oh,
No.
So yes, he's leasing to some of the local guys right now, but you know, again, we hear things from our members. He's also a majority shareholder in Beyond Meats and Impossible Meats. What if he starts holding back so much feed and makes such a huge impact that his fake meat companies take off because he's disrupting our beef
Why wouldn't
industry.
he?
When
You know?
Why wouldn't he? I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
exactly.
the worry. That's my worry.
and in all sincerity, 34,000 acres is nothing compared to what a lot of the Mormon Church just bought up 370,000 acres in Nebraska. And
They surpassed Ted Turner being the largest purchaser.
I think
of
Ted still
Nebraska.
owns. It doesn't. Ted owns like 500,000, right? Or maybe it's switched, but
You know, it's basically the purchasing of it. In the last 10 years, they've had a big movement in the Panhandle,
okay.
but now they're starting to get South Central Nebraska, south of Kearney, that are making a big push down there also.
Wow.
So is there
Yeah.
land tax exempt when they buy it? The church?
It's kind of, I was researching that a little bit. Some of it is, some of it isn't. They pay taxes, but my big problem with it is, I mean, it's owned by a U.S. company, if you will.
Right.
I'm giving the finger quotes, like you could see that on the radio. But the trouble with it is, it's the velocity of money. Right? When you spend money, like right now, we're all sitting here drinking the milk coffee. We're spending money locally, and that money is being used to payroll and buy products, and it goes around 10 to 12 fold. Well, when you have land that's owned out of state or out of the country,
Yep,
that money is going out of the state and out of the country. It's hurting our statewide economy, and that's my biggest problem with it. But foreign owned, one of the things I was looking at yesterday, if we hopped in a car right now, we're right downtown Lincoln, and we drove south all the way to the Kansas border, and then we drove from there up to Omaha, downtown Omaha, and back to Lincoln, that's how much foreign owned land there is in Nebraska. That's a chunk.
yeah.
And think about and this isn't we don't have swampland here in Nebraska. This isn't cruddy land. We really don't have any. This is prime farming land, and that money is just a vacuum. It's coming right out of our economy.
So one question I've thought of as reading this, reading that you were going to be here Thursday and researching you a little bit and blah, 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 blah. I'm talking this morning because last night. Okay, just throwing it out there. Full disclosure. So let's say, for example, my cousin gets to a point where he's like, I just can't do this anymore. I'm digging a grave here. Hard to make ends meet. Margins are so low. Somebody approaches him with land. How do people find you so that could be possibly an avenue they could take in selling their land instead of going to someone else? And also, so if your organization buys the land and you're leasing it back to the farmer, is there ever a chance if it's times get better for him, he can buy it back? Or what's that all look like?
Yeah. So each and every one of our deals is tailor made to the farmer rancher's operation.
Okay.
So what we wanted to do is set up a network across all 93 counties so that there is representation in each county, and obviously birds of a feather flock together, and they're all meeting at
Word of mouth.
5 a.m. or 6 a.m. at the coffee shop. They're talking about us, and people know about us.
Good.
So when something like that happens, it just gets spread throughout the network. And we're setting up this network with some of the top farmer, rancher, business leaders across the state. We wanted to be an every county, and that's what we're doing in this push right now.
Great.
So,
So what can people do to help with that?
go on the website, learn about a little bit more information. We're looking for like-minded individuals, leaders, people who are tired of just talking about the problem and want to stand up, when enough is enough, and get back to the better good of the agricultural farming family. I mean, there's so many good values there and so many good traits of these families, and we're just losing them because, like Travis was saying, a lot of these out-of-state guys are coming in, and they're not contributing back to our small towns across the state. They're not going to the local seed guy. They're not going to the local hardware. They're not sure as hell not sending their kids to the local schools.
Right.
So we're just seeing it all over small town Nebraska, and that's what we want to preserve, defend, and secure.
Just making sure that local farmers are working this ground. That's the big.
Right.
That's
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when it
Excuse me.
comes to answer your question, when it comes to something like that, we look at the whole operation. Of course, there's always that opportunity where they can have an option on there to buy it back.
Okay. I was curious about that.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay.
Yep. So we'll lease it to them, and if they want to throw an option on there, we can throw that on there. We just want to make sure it stays in local hands.
Yeah.
That's
I love
the
that.
number one thing.
That's awesome.
So if there is let's say we're farmers, right? Gary and I are farmers, and he's leasing my land, and I decide I want to sell it. Maybe Gary can't afford to buy it. Then I reach out to you and go, hey.
Absolutely. Yes, that's exactly what we do. As you can see in front of you, I have a little map here of all
Yeah.
our members. But I mean, that's what we're built for. We got to help anybody that can purchase, that can't purchase their ground. We will help them do so.
Okay.
That's our goal. We want to keep the younger youth too. I mean, that's another struggle we're seeing is the down payments from these younger farmers.
Yeah.
So we're here. We have outside people, myself and a few other guys. So just give us a call. We'll come out, visit with you, and figure out a way to make it work.
So you guys buy the land and then lease it back to the farmer who's already farming it, whether he owns it or doesn't own it. It kind of works both ways, right?
Yeah, right.
Absolutely.
The one thing that has made us so unique and be able to win in only 1 year of operating in operation is that we're bringing seller financing back to the table, with the feds raising their rates and whatnot, and we can make it unique to that situation, to the seller, where they can spread their tax payments out over 5 years instead of paying one lump sum.
Sweet.
It's basically an annuity that they're guaranteed for 5 years on that too. So if it works, please, get me on, understand me. We're not pulling the trigger on every deal right now.
Sure.
Just because
that'd be a
of
lot. That'd be a lot.
But gradually, as we're getting bigger and growing this, we can take advantage more of those deals. But right now, it's just the ones that are just make that perfect fit. And we've basically saved about 6 farms so far.
Wow.
Well, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
That's fantastic.
Good start. Let's keep that going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing I saw when I was researching, I saw that I think it's Antelope County, 51% of the county is foreign owned, and it's Canadian. And you think, what do the Canadians want with our land? Well, they're putting up wind turbines, and so now here we are. Again, we're making farming ground worse, and put up wind turbines, and then they're getting all the subsidies that go along with. So not only is it farm ground that's going away, it's farm lease money that's going out of the country, and tax subsidies that's going out of it's absolutely mad.
That makes no sense. That makes me want to go to the Boston Harbor and throw tea in the harbor right now. It does. I mean, that's what I want to do when I'm done, but I'm going to go meet my grandson instead. But it just drives me nuts. Why are we giving a subsidy to any foreign entity, period?
Right. Exactly.
I mean, that is happening.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Okay.
I guarantee
I
it's
figured it probably
happening.
would, but yeah.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And again, it makes I know this is not exactly why we're here to talk, but at the same time, I know guys who are crop dusters. They don't fly anywhere near those wind turbines. I know that it's not good for the crops. It's not good for cattle or swine or whatever it is, whatever you're ranching. Yeah, it's all bad.
And that's what we understand that the farmer that's, making these deals, putting those turbines on their ground, they need help. And we just want to make it so they don't have to go to a wind turbine company or a carbon credit company or a solar farm company. We want to be able to do that within the network and provide them many outlets where they don't have to go to a Green Deal type initiative.
Yeah, and it's
That
not,
makes
they don't
sense.
make the money that they think, but sometimes
Right.
those guys are desperate. They need some income, and the wind and solar and all that looks good on paper. But yeah, it's a bad deal. So you said you guys have bought up 6 farms. So how much land do you guys have under management so far?
About 1,500 acres.
Okay, that's that's what, about
so you are
3-4 square miles. So
infancy of your program, which is great though. So
Yes, very
build
much.
from there. So I'm a farmer. I know that I'm going to be needing some help. Things are tough. Go to your webpage, get some information. I imagine there's some sort of an application contacting you and getting started and everything. Is that a long process? I mean, obviously you're going to look at the books, you're going to look at the farm and how it's running, and what's that kind of look like a little bit?
Well, it's nothing compared to the USDA. It's
Oh,
nothing
well, of
compared
course,
to
because you're privately owned, so
Yeah,
you
right.
have common sense. Let's
Nothing
just
against the
throw that
USDA.
out there.
Yes.
I mean, so you don't have to turn the Titanic around in Pawnee Lake. That's what you're telling me. Okay, great.
Right. Yeah, it's like I said, we're not a lending institution. We're not a bank. We're just a bunch of farmers and ranchers that want to help each other out.
I love that.
And we're dealing with some of the top farmers in these counties. So we trust them to run their operation correctly and help others too, because we have a young farmer mentorship program where we're helping young producers get into either farming, or if they're looking for more work, we're connecting them with some of our older guys who are looking to transition out, whether it has to do with some custom farming, planting, harvesting, or whatnot. And we're making those connections all over the state.
Do a lot of the farms land change hands when mom or dad pass away and the taxes are so high in that transfer of land? Or are there enough protections that that's not a big issue?
That's the number 2 thing that we're going to be working on.
Okay.
Because after visiting with a bunch of our members going across the state, over half of them have zero succession plan,
Right.
estate plan in place.
Yeah, I think that's how several of my cousins ended up having to
Yeah.
sell, because
So even if
it
they
was
do
just
have
exorbitant.
if they do have heirs or successors that want to take over the farm, they would have to pay millions of dollars just to inherit it. So a lot
Yeah.
of them, either letting it go or selling off a piece of that farm to just take it over. So that's what we're going to be. Our next initiative is to start coming up with different entities in the state plan. So we're working with a bunch of our business partners right now on that.
So
yeah, well,
that's-
we're gonna head to break,
Yep.
but let's
That's
expand
something I
on
want to
that.
talk about coming out of the break.
Yeah.
Is I've never heard someone say we have property tax problem here in Nebraska. It's crazy.
Right.
So when we come back, we'll talk a little bit about that. And then Alex tapped me on the shoulder. He wrote down a question. He's got to learn. This is almost like a street brawl. If you got something to say, you got to grab a mic and get in there, because everybody wants to talk. So, but we're going to go to a break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. You're listening to the LIBA Business Hour.
What a day. I could sure use an afternoon pick-me-up. Hold up. The new 93.7 The Ticket location has a milk, coffee, and tea inside? Oh, yeah. This is a game changer.
Need an afternoon pick-me-up? How about a coffee or smoothie on your way to work? Stop by the Ticket Mill location on 1040 O Street to get your go-to drink, or try out our new game day drinks exclusive to the Ticket Mill location. We know it'll make your day a million times better.
Fall is the perfect time to work on outdoor projects. Whether you plan to install a fence or add shrubs to your landscape, don't risk an injury by hitting a buried power line. Always call 811 before you dig.
It's the greatest time of the year again. Kickoff is here and football is officially back. Over 1 million fans across 33 states got in the game last year by making picks on Underdog, and this year you can too. Making picks on Underdog is straightforward, and signing up is even easier. Just head over to Underdog's simple-to-use mobile app or UnderdogFantasy.com and sign up with promo code EARLY, and Underdog will give you a free pick to use on your first cash pick'em entry, plus up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you deposit. That's Underdog Fantasy promo code EARLY to claim your new customer special of a free pick and your deposit offer. Must be 19 plus in Nebraska and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
I'm softball player Jordy Ball, and I'm proud of my Nebraska roots, and I'm proud to be back home. And at Midwest Bank, they're proud to be your local community bank. They believe in family first, taking initiative, showing integrity, and rolling up their sleeves to support their local communities. They treat everyone like family, no matter where you're from. Whether you walk into a branch in York, Lincoln, Norfolk, or Pierce, you know you're going to be welcomed with a smile. Your community, your bank, Midwest Bank.
It's game on at Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Nebraska's premier Sea-Doo dealership. Score up to $300 off or a free 2-year warranty on 2024 Sea-Doo Sparks and $500 off or a free 2-year warranty on all other brand new 2024 Sea-Doos. Rule the streets on an Indian motorcycle with customer cash and trade-in credits up to $2,000 during the month of September. On or off-road, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln has you covered with a large selection of motorcycles and watercraft in stock at their new 27th and I-80 location. Hurry in, the clock is running down.
Hi, Sean Callahan here of HuskerOnline.com, inviting you to join us here on 93.7 The Ticket every Saturday morning now in our new time. We're on from 8 to 9 with the weekly Husker Online radio show. We'll give you the latest in recruiting. We'll talk about what's going on with both football, basketball, and we'll probably share a few stories from the inside. It's every Saturday morning right here on 93.7 The Ticket. It's the Husker Online radio show from 8 to 9 a.m.
I'm Karen Carr. I've been a realtor for 31 years. When I made a company change 12 years ago, I chose Lincoln First Realty, now NP Dodge. It's the oldest independently owned realty company in the country. Since becoming NP Dodge, we've continued our tradition of community involvement. Our management and staff are always available to offer support in marketing, technology, social media, and educational opportunities.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
Order like a champ at Raising Cane's. With tailgates of hand-battered chicken fingers and cane sauce and jugs of freshly made tea and lemonade, you can guarantee victory for every game day meal. Raising Cane's Chicken Finger, one love. Order online or on our app.
College football in Lincoln, America. The time has come. Start your game day off right with the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Join the Ticket crew as they bring you all the coverage you need to get you ready for the action. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Brought to you by General Fire and Safety, Raising Cane's, Perch Merch, Sunbelt Rentals, Mullen Motors, Select Plumbing, and the Kindler Hotel. On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. On the block with Strick and Austin.
If Nebraska football beats Colorado, it's going to feel a little bit like Nebraska basketball beating Creighton 2 years ago. Point is, Nebraska dictated tempo and style. And I think that is very important in this matchup, and it can be a turning point.
What was different about that team is, like you said, it was the start of overcoming mental prisons in their mind.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Back to the LIBA Business Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This segment sponsored by Integrated Behavioral Health Services.
Welcome back into the LIBA Business Hour right here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. I'll throw it right back over to Gary and Travis here shortly. I just wanted to read a text that we got in. Bella on the text line said, land prices are insanely high. My wife and I are 39 and 40 years old, and we feel the same with what you guys are trying to do. We currently have 40 acres that we purchased, and we're just struggling with how to find ways to buy more land and keep it local to keep it very similar to what you guys are kind of doing.
Yeah, all right, I'll take this one. So what you can do is reach out to myself or Gabe, call our office, or go to NebraskaFarmersNetwork.com, and we can definitely set up a time to come out and visit with you. There's a lot of opportunities that we have pending on the county, so that'll be a big factor of what we're doing.
Sure.
We got to kind of make sure we have things out there. I don't want to overpromise and not come through. But there are opportunities that we can have for you, and we'd be glad to help you.
On that webpage, tell us again, but is Nebraska spelled out or is it NE? What?
Yep, it's nefarmersnetwork.com.
Okay, nefarmersnetwork.com. So there you go. That'd be a great place to reach out and get started, and then get a hold of you guys. You're local here in Lincoln, and did they say what county they were in? They didn't.
They didn't say what county.
Yeah, which is fine because you're
Doesn't matter.
state.
They're local.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll try and help them the best we can.
Yeah, if you're in Nebraska, you're local.
That's
right.
right. That's right.
Yeah, it's funny because when Alex, my son, was young, he that's all he wanted to do was be a farmer. And he goes, "How do I do it?" I said, "Son, you better find a farmer with a daughter. That's your only option, man, because it's not going to happen." I mean, now, some of this ag land's going $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 an acre. Woo!
Yeah,
if you can find it.
Right.
They're buying it. They're buying it for the investment. They're not buying it for the production value that our farmers have been buying that ground for the past hundreds of years.
Yeah.
They've always, the biggest competition for a farmer was another farmer. That was it. Now you're getting all these non-farmers coming in at the auction block or online or MLS in different states. And that's the issue that we're having. We have all these outside individuals bidding up this ground just because they see it as a hedge against inflation, a hedge against the ups and downs of Wall Street.
Well, yeah.
They don't care about the families.
Sure, they're buying it for the equity 20, 30, 40 years from now, whenever they need it or whatever. Honestly, you think the board in Pittsburgh or wherever it might be, or China or Canada or whatever, is really caring that much about the farmer that's leasing it? If they don't succeed, they still own the land. That's part of the challenge there. Whereas what you guys are trying to do, you're invested in the family farm. You're invested in local. You're invested in people. You're wanting to keep that land in the hands of people and not a big corporation that's just going to turn around and really not probably care. I'd be surprised if they really sit in their boardrooms and go, "Hey, how's the family outside of Chadron doing? Are they doing pretty good?"
They do not care.
I heard they had another little kid, so they've got, is his name Johnny? Yeah, phrases you never hear in that boardroom.
Well, and when we were driving in, we own a small company and we buy commercial real estate, and we have some, residential rentals. And I told Alex, I said, "Man, I think we'd be smart in going out and finding land. They're not making it anymore, so you may as well do it." But as somebody who invests, I look at it and go, "Gosh, I don't know how I would make money." You're probably going to be lucky to pay the taxes, which we'll have to talk about taxes. But investing in farm ground, it's tough. You can't just go out, buy a piece of land and go, "Hey, you want to farm this?"
Right.
Because that's complex. So if there are investors out there, do you guys take on investors as well with your company?
If they're Nebraska based, for sure. Yeah, because that's going to be our next push. Is we're going to start visiting with Nebraska companies, some of your bigger corporations or companies for their retirement programs, for their 401ks, for their pension plans, because pensions are some of the biggest investors in land across the United States. So if they're already investing in these different REITs and land opportunities, why not invest in their own backyard?
Yeah,
where they can actually drive by the farm, pick up the dirt and throw it.
Yeah.
So that's going to be our one of our next initiatives is visiting with a lot of these bigger corporations around Nebraska.
And what a sound investment. That's the whole reason that we got into real estate, was to create generational wealth, because it's not going anywhere. The land is going to be there 10 generations from me now, and I may as well own it. So I what a great investment.
Not only, like you said, Travis, they're not making any more of it today, but we're losing it today. We're losing it.
Right.
We're losing 2,000 acres every single day in the U.S. for development. It's getting paved over, or a school's getting built on it, or whatever. Somebody has to have their 5-6 acre acreage, throughout the whole farm. So it's just,
Yeah, there was a little plot of land down in Panama that somebody came to. I sit on the town board down there, and it was like 30 acres or something, and they wanted to do houses. They wanted to build development, and it's like, no. Well, we don't have the water, which that's a whole nother radio show. But we are seeing this farm ground just getting eaten up in 2 acre, 3 acre acreages, And some of it I get. I mean, schools, growth, it's going to happen no matter what. But again, as these cities start growing and they start pushing out into this farm ground, the value and the price is just going to keep right on going up. So,
yeah, people in their houses and acreage properties, it's kind of like meals at the restaurant. It's 5 times what you really need. It's the American way. I've been traveling through Europe a lot lately, and it's amazing when you're over there that you look at the use of land and how they think of their land and the way that they manage their land, both including municipalities and agriculture. And it does make a lot more sense. I mean, they have houses that they need and not that they want. We buy huge houses here because we get a great tax break. There's just so many things that could be better that would help manage the land better. I mean, like with anything, it's so many different facets that control it. But I really love what you guys are doing so much. Again, it's Nebraska. It's just NE.
Yep. NEFarmersNetwork.com.
NEFarmersNetwork.com. Write that down because you guys are going to be big soon because you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I
And
love
just,
hearing it.
we just putting it out there. We don't know everything, right? And that's why we're building this network. My family had a farm outside of Lincoln back that my grandpa bought in the early 60s. They sold it in the early 2000s to a developer. But you don't want me in a combine, is what I'm trying to say.
Or my daughter. She sent a picture from inside the combine. I'm like, oh, dear God, John, do not let her drive.
It's like mission
anything.
control.
And then he was like, don't you touch anything, whatever. And she goes, so I was like, turn the wipers on. I'm like, Aaron, just don't touch anything.
And the radio.
Yeah. I mean,
you remember that old
Ouch.
Pauly Shore movie where he's out there doing the whatever in the comment? That would be me.
What was that?
Exactly. I don't know if I
Such a
could
stupid movie. It was awesome.
Son-in-law, I think.
Son-in-law.
Yes.
Buddy.
Yeah. So
Crawl.
so that's why we're building this network. That everybody is involved. Our members are direct owners of the company, and we call on them for all the expertise that there is.
So now, just something I was thinking of as we were talking is, what if there's a farmer out there, his kids don't want to farm, right? But he doesn't want to sell, or his kids don't want to sell. Is that a situation where you guys could help them find lessee? What would that word be?
This
I
network.
know English, I swear.
Lessee.
Something up.
Yeah, this network is just there's no bounds to there's no boundaries of where this network could go and the possibilities of it. So any type of connection like that, we're
have
we're
the
capable of,
conversation.
for sure. Even there's some farmers that were interested in a certain model of a tractor, and we just asked the network, hey, is anybody else looking at this tractor? And there was about 3 or 4 guys did, and then we called the dealer and said, hey, what kind of deal would you give us if we bought 5 of them? Shoot. Well, then that just price went down, substantially, and it just helped the margin of those 5 farmers.
Well, and that's the goal. You had mentioned that your son was looking for maybe to get into farming and things like that. You had mentioned that earlier. Well, this is your chance. I mean, we have an opportunity. Not saying we're going to buy you all your farms, but we have an opportunity to help someone like you that wants to keep continuing farming in Nebraska. That's the people we're looking for as well.
So how would a kid like me get into the apprenticeship or mentorship that you're talking about? Is there a place to go to sign up or find somebody to help?
Well, yeah, I mean, you can just get a hold of me. We set up a time to meet and we discuss it and go over everything, your plan, kind of see what you're looking to get into, whether it's livestock, row crop, anything like that. And we discuss it with Gabe and the network, and here we go.
Yeah, you guys, we're setting this up day by day. So there are so many
facets,
very facets, and very cool things that we can do. So we want to help you, but we want to. What do you bring to the table too? Could you be head of that young farmer mentorship program? Could you contact FFA and 4-H and start creating these events and creating the urgency and the talk of it? So that's where we're not only are we helping you, but we're asking you to help us grow that area also in every division of agricultural here in Nebraska.
Is that how you're trying to expand into schools and get these young farmers, get your word out there of we can help you?
We're here with, the doom and gloom that we all are hearing and seeing, there's still hope. You got to remember, you brought up the Tea Party. Well, back before the Revolutionary War, there were 77 farmers that took on 700 of the British redcoats, trained killers. And you got 77 farmers with pitchforks, blacksmiths, just your 77 farmers that took them on. I mean, they won that war.
Yeah, they had something to fight for, and we have something to fight for. And it's almost this perfect storm right now is I'm not glad that all these foreign entities and out-of-state investors are buying up our land, but at least it's giving us something to pay attention to, like, oh my God, this is happening. So now we're starting to wake up to it, and now we can do something about it. Yep. And that's what excites me about it. So are you guys in with FAA? Are you getting into the schools? Are you talking to these groups?
That's what we want to do. We haven't yet, but I mean, there's so many associations that are starting to contact us. One of the big things, I guess my plug here is we're looking for great help, just like everybody else, but we're looking for the builders out there, not somebody with an 8 to 5 employee spirit by any means, but the builders who want to come and help us build something so huge that it's bigger than myself. It's bigger than Clint. It's bigger than any of us in this room, and so much it could do and be a positive. Again, I don't want to be here trying to inspire anybody, but it could bring so much wealth back to the state and back to the communities that we've already lost and we're continuing to lose is the wealth. And we need to make Nebraska wealthy again.
Well, trust me, we want you to inspire people. That's why you're here for sure. So that's a good thing. Listen, you're listening to 93.7 The Ticket, and it's a LIBA Business Hour. We're going to be back after break.
Football season is here, and that means that fall is here. So start the season off right with Holidays in Bennett with Tailored Life. Make plans to stop by Bennett from September 6th through the 8th for open houses for shops. And on Sunday, enjoy a street market with creative collabs with over 30 vendors, food trucks, and a kids zone. It's Holidays in Bennett from September 6th through the 8th. Make sure to stop and see Tailored Life, Garden, Home, and Gift when you stop by.
This is former Husker and NFL linebacker Jay Foreman. For years, I've suffered from degenerative problems in both of my ankles, but thanks to a thorough and thought-out plan provided by Advanced Medical Imaging, I was able to get my life back with the least amount of pain as possible. While working through multiple options, the team of physicians at Advanced Medical Imaging were there to answer any questions I had. If you're experiencing any pain at all and want to get your life back, go to amimaging.com or give them a call at 402-484-6677. Advanced Medical Imaging, located at 7601 Pioneers Boulevard.
College football in Lincoln, America. The time has come. Start your game day off right with the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Join the ticket crew as they bring you all the coverage you need to get you ready for the action. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Brought to you by General Fire and Safety, Raising Cane's, Perch Merch, Sunbelt Rentals, Mullen Motors, Select Plumbing, and the Kindler Hotel. On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Are you or someone you love struggling with substance use? The Bridge Behavioral Health in Lincoln offers outpatient therapy for those 19 and over. The Bridge is conveniently located in the South Haymarket and near city bus lines. With payment options through insurance and a sliding fee scale, services are available for any adult 19 and over seeking help. Call 402-477-3951 to learn more or schedule your appointment today. The Bridge Behavioral Health is a local substance use treatment facility offering hope and a solid foundation for recovery through substance use treatment and behavioral health interventions.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket as soon as the clock hits 0 for the Jay Foreman postgame show. Listen to expert analysis from the Husker Hall of Famer, an 8-year NFL veteran, for 90 minutes after the game. The Jay Foreman postgame show, sponsored by Anderson Ford, Tanner's Bar and Grill, Tavern 180, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Vinnie Kreekak of State Farm Insurance, and Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Our lives only have so much time, but if you smoke, you have less. Your life could be 10 years shorter, and the time you do have is often filled with health problems. Shortness of breath, asthma, COPD, and cancer. But the minute you quit, your body starts healing,
Call the Nebraska Tobacco Quit Line, 1-800-QUIT-NOW, 1-800-784-8669. Paid for by Tobacco Free Nebraska. Aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket as soon as the clock hits 0 for the Jay Foreman postgame show. Listen to expert analysis from the Husker Hall of Famer, an 8-year NFL veteran, for 90 minutes after the game. The Jay Foreman postgame show, sponsored by Anderson Ford, Tanner's Bar and Grill, Tavern 180, Elway Power Sports of Lincoln, Vinnie Kreekak of State Farm Insurance, and Action Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Electrical on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Hey there, fellas. It's your girl Jordan with Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Let's talk about trading up. Not what you're thinking. You could never trade her in, but you can trade up her stone if you like. Signify the growth of your love, the challenges you have overcome, or any part of your love journey by trading up her diamond. Whether it's been 5 years, 25 years, or 50, say it with a bling. Big love, big bling. We got you. Until next time, this is Jordan at Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Happy shopping, guys.
This show's pretty rockin', huh?
Yeah, I'm so glad my State Farm agent helped me go.
Huh?
My State Farm agent. They help me with options to personalize my auto insurance to get a great rate that fits my budget, so I don't have to give up the things I love.
Wow. Hey, so do you think I could get your State Farm agent's number?
Call your local State Farm agent, Vinnie Kreekak, at 402-474-1173.
Individual premiums and budgets will vary by customer. All applicants subject to State Farm underwriting requirements.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize before participating in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the K&TK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeit. Thank you for participating in our contest, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Back to the LIBA Business Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This segment sponsored by U-Stop and Whitehead Oil.
Good morning or afternoon, evening, depending on when you're
Well, it's
listening.
a Husker game day. They're probably still up.
Yeah, there you go. It is Husker game day today. We're going to take on the Buffs, and man, we got to beat that team today. That's my big focus.
That's all you got to say. We got to beat that team.
That's it. We got to beat them. We got to win this game. Win this
knowledge.
game. I'm not all right, Ben. Ben's not taking me up in the press box yet, so he and I have something to talk about afterwards.
No, that's still not going to happen yet, Gary.
You got to keep buttering him. I will. Well, you're listening to the LIBA Business Hour on 93.7 The Ticket. And just really quick, LIBA, for those of you that don't know, is the Lincoln Independent Business Association. If you are a business owner out there, an entrepreneur, or you just like to join a group of like-minded individuals that promote entrepreneurship and locally owned business and all that sort of thing, contact Lori, Laure, at liba.org, or give Travis a call at LIBA. We'd love to have you as a member. So we've got a lot to talk about with you guys. It's been very interesting with this conversation this morning. I love what you're doing. As I'm listening, what's going through my mind is awareness. That's a big issue for you guys. We need to make what you're doing aware to as many people as possible. So my thoughts are like associations, different things like that. What are you guys kind of looking at? How can you, promote that within? What are you doing for that? Or how can we help you or people listening?
Sure. There's a lot of ag-related associations out there already, right? There's tons of them.
Sure.
And it seems like there's an association for every little field or type of corn or soybean or whatnot. Yeah. But there isn't anything out there that's 100%, 150% committed to securing, preserving, and defending our land. Nothing. And if you don't have our land, yeah, sure, 99% of family farms or farms are family owned. But what about the land they're farming? Well, you can consider them a family farm, but if they don't own that land, I don't really consider that, too impressive. So, yes, we would love to have and work with associations out there that, we could both bounce off ideas and come up with new innovative ways to tackle this problem, because that's what they're doing. They're coming up with new ways. So that's the number one thing is we just can't be doing the same thing we've been doing for the past 50 or 60 years, because as you can see, we're getting left behind.
Right.
So something's got to change. And like, thank you guys for having us on here so we could voice what we're doing and our actions. We're building a team. We're building a powerhouse. Some of our founding members are some of the greatest farmers and ranchers that I've met. And you don't hear about those guys that, some of them don't even have kids or they don't have successors, but they said, God forbid, when my time comes, I want to visit with you guys, because I want to know for sure my land stays in Nebraska local hands.
And so you guys have an office here in Lincoln in the Trade Center, correct? So people can actually talk to you there or come visit you. You can have coffee or chat with them, whatever. It's nefarmersnetwork.com, correct?
That's right.
Okay. And getting a hold of you, that's a good first step of finding you guys, which is a really good thing. If there's any financial advisors, financial planners out there, if you guys have an association, contact these guys at nefarmersnetwork.com, because I think that would be a good thing too. They're planning with, a lot of them deal with, farmers and owners of farms. And I think that would be a good connection also.
Well, and also keep in mind, yes, we have a physical location, but we want to come to you. We want to see your farm. We want to see you, meet your family, everybody.
There you go.
Just to get a good feel. You want everybody to have a good feeling about us. Same as with us. We got to have a good feeling. It's a partnership. It's a great deal for everybody. So yes, keep in mind, we can go clear out west. Anywhere you are, we can go to.
Yeah, and the goal is all 93 countries.
That's right.
Counties,
Yeah.
right? We almost have 93 countries here in the state with people keep buying up the land.
Yeah,
that's why my
probably
mind
do.
there. I'm like, oh no.
One thing that you said in the first segment, it's just kind of, I've been thinking about it the entire show, is what if you have Bill Gates, who has 35,000 acres, and he's the big, what's the impossible meat?
Possible meat.
Yeah, the vegan,
the chemical blank store.
Yeah, exactly. What if all of a sudden he decides, you know what? We're not going to produce anything on my land. We're just not. And you start thinking about that. I mean, we're feeding the country to an extent. We're feeding a good chunk of the world. What if a bunch of these big people who, in the political scheme, a lot of them are bad actors, at China, Italy. Alex tapped me on the shoulder, said Italy was like the second largest landowner in the U.S. as far as foreign entities go. What if they all decide, hey, you know what? That's our land. We're not going to do anything with it.
Well, that's exactly the point. With our network this is where we start. This is the groundwork of it all.
Yeah.
It's not too late.
No, it's not.
So that's our goal, is to make sure that all these farmers, ranchers, we get as a team. We work together. We keep Nebraska what's ours. Nebraska land what's ours.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love it.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
My wife's got a little Italian in her, and so
she's the closer.
She's sleeping with the enemy, I guess. But,
whoa.
A lot of those
be careful now.
Those numbers that you see there are from those initiatives, those Green Deal initiatives, like the turbines and whatnot. So a big number of those Italian acres are coming from those windmills that do have 5-year leases, 10 years, 15 years. So there's just so many loopholes that, here comes the 5th year. All right, let's just change our LLC to a different name and, do this and do that. So again, the only way that we're doing it we're done with the bureaucrats in DC. We're taking matters in our own hands and creating such a powerful network.
And it reminds me of Tom out at the mission, right? He did the same thing.
Yeah.
He said, we can accomplish so much more at the mission without the government involved. And it's very true.
Right. Yeah. And we do need to do something to inspire the government to stop allowing this to happen. Because I look at the wind turbines, like out in the western part, you're digging a hole that's 40 feet deep and filling it full of concrete and rebar and all this other stuff. What's under the panhandle? Our water supply. Probably not a good idea to have all those chemicals and steel and whatnot sitting in our water supply. And I mean, it doesn't work, but the whole wind turbine thing, but that's a whole nother show, because I think we only have about 4 minutes left here. So, but yeah, these are things that people really need to start considering. So if you're thinking about farming, you're thinking about buying land, you're thinking about selling land, you're thinking about whatever, you guys are going to help people who have an interest in buying land, selling land, leasing land. And so they need to reach out. They need to talk to you. Any NebraskaFarmersNetwork.com, right?
Yes, you can Google Nebraska Farmers Network, and our website is that N as in Nebraska, E, farmersnetwork.com.
Yeah, which is great. Absolutely great.
Yeah. You know, the big thing about it is we just want people to think about, who do you want to be your neighbor? If you're happy with Bill Gates being your neighbor, if you're happy with China, Saudi Arabia being your neighbor, then fine. But if you're not okay with that, we ought to do something about it.
Yeah.
We ought to make sure that the next generation of Nebraska farmers and ranchers are individuals who live on the land, who will take care of the land and look out for their communities.
Yeah.
Sure.
And think of those corporate farmers. I mean, they're not buying seed right down the road. They're not stepping out of a combine to go down to the cafe. They are not doing anything to support our local communities and business owners.
Sure.
And that's tragic.
Kids aren't in the local schools. I mean, look at the combination of schools now, you know. I mean, Hebron used to have its own school. Now it's, you know, 3.
Yeah.
Eventually you're going to have 3 or 4 counties with one school. Everybody's like bus for an hour and a half because, you know, you just have corporate farms everywhere.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're bringing this on early before it becomes disastrous. And this has been awesome. It's been nice meeting both of you and talking about this.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having
and
us.
as you guys grow, I would love to have you back on again, maybe after the first of the year, and just see how things are going, because this is an extremely important issue.
Right.
And so I'm thankful that you guys are doing something about it. And I'm glad that we can do our little part to kind of help get your name out there, because this is absolutely critical. So
great.
Fantastic. Well, guys, I'm going to give it one more time. NEFarmersNetwork.com. You can look them up. They're in the Trade Center. They're right here in Lincoln. So thanks for coming on, guys. We really appreciate you.
Thank you.
So
thanks.
You're listening to LIBA Business Hour, and we will be back next week. Go Huskers.
Yeah, go Big Red.
Yeah.
Go Big Red. I just saw a couple of the enemy walk by.
Uh-oh.
Will help maintain your